Where the Sidewalk Ends. Michelle Silverstein is the author of The Giving Tree and many other books of prose and poetry. He also wrote songs, drew cartoons, sang, played the guitar, and loved to have a good time. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, come in. For where the sidewalk ends, Shel Silverstein's world begins. You'll meet a boy who turns into a TV set, and a girl who eats a whale. The unicorn and the bloath live there, and so does Sarah, Cynthia, Sylvia, Stout, who will not take the garbage out. There is a place where you wash your shadow and plant diamond gardens. A place where shoes fly, sisters are auctioned off, and crocodiles go to the dentist. Shel Silverstein's masterful collection of poems and drawings is at once outrageously funny and profound. This special edition has 12 extra poems that did not appear in the original collection. Where the Sidewalk Ends. Invitation. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you are a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some gold, flax tales to spin. Come in, come in. The acrobats. I'll swing by my ankles, she'll cling to your knees, as you hang by your nose from a high-up trapeze. But just one thing, please, as we float through the breeze. Don't sneeze. Magic. Sandra's seen a leprechaun, Eddie's touched a troll. Laurie danced with witches once, Charlie found some goblin's gold. Donald heard a mermaid sing, Susie spied an elf. But all the magic I have known, I've had to make myself. Homemade boat. This boat that we just built is just fine. And don't just try to tell us it's not. The sides and the back are divine. It's the bottom I guess we forgot. I must remember turkey on Thanksgiving, pudding on Christmas, eggs on Easter, chicken on Sunday, fish on Friday, leftovers Monday. But ah me, I'm such a dunce, I went and I ate them all at once. The fourth. Oh crash, my bash, it's a bang the zang. Fourth whoosh of Baroom July, woo. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Went for a ride in a flying shoe. Hooray, what fun, it's time we flew. Said Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle was captain and Pickle was crew, and Tickle served coffee and mulligan stew, as higher and higher and higher they flew. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too, over the sun and beyond the blue. Hold on, stay in, I hope we do, cried Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too, never returned to the world they knew, and nobody knows what's happened to dear Ickle me, pickle me, tickle me too. Captain Hook. Captain Hook must remember not to scratch his toes. Captain Hook must watch out and never pick his nose. Captain Hook must be gentle when he shakes your hand. Captain must be careful opening sardine cans, and playing tag and pouring tea, and turning pages of his book. Lots of folks I'm glad I ain't, but mostly Captain Hook. Hug-o-war. I will not play a tug-of-war. I'd rather play a hug-of-war, where everyone hugs instead of tugs, where everyone giggles and rolls on the rug, where everyone kisses and everyone grins, and everyone cuddles and everyone wins. It's dark in here. I am writing these poems from inside a line. and it's rather dark in here. So please excuse the handwriting, which may not be too clear. But this afternoon, by the lion's cage, I'm afraid I got too near. And I'm writing these lines from inside a line, and it's rather dark in here. Orchestra, or orchestra. So you haven't got a drum, just beat your belly. So I haven't got a horn, I'll play my nose. So we haven't got any cymbals, so just slap our hands together. And though there may be orchestras that sound a little better, with their fancy shiny instruments that cost an awful lot, hey, we're making music twice as good by playing what we've got. Flag. 1 star is for Alaska, 1 star is for Nebraska, 1 star is North Dakota, 1 star is Minnesota. There are lots of other stars, but I forgot which ones they are. Colors. My skin is kind of sort of brownish, pinkish, yellowish white. My eyes are grayish, bluish green, but I'm told they look orange in the night. My hair is reddish, blondish brown, but it's silver when it's wet, and all the colors I am inside have not been invented yet. The loser. Mama said I'd lose my head if it wasn't fastened on. Today I guess it wasn't, 'cause while playing with my cousin, it fell off and rolled away, and now it's gone. And I can't look for it 'cause my eyes are in it, and I can't call to it 'cause my mouth is in it. Couldn't hear me anyway 'cause my ears are on it. Can't even think about it 'cause my brain is in it. So I guess I'll sit down on this rock and rest for just a minute. Joey. Joey took a stone and knocked down the sun, and whoosh it sizzled down so hard, and bloop it bounced in his backyard, and glunk it landed on his toe, and the world was dark, and the corn wouldn't grow, and the wind wouldn't blow, and the cock wouldn't crow, and it was always night, 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 all because of a stone and Joe. Listen to the mustn'ts. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never-haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Jimmy Jet and his TV set. I'll tell you the story of Jimmy Jet, and you know what I tell you is true. He loved to watch his TV set almost as much as you. He watched all day, he watched all night, till he grew pale and lean. From the early show to the late show, and even all the late show and all the shows in between. He watched till his eyes were frozen wide, and his bottom grew into his chair. And his chair turned and his chin turned into a turning dial, and his antennae grew out of his hair, and his brains turned into TV tubes, and his face to a TV screen. And two knobs sang vert and horsed, grew where his ears had been. And he grew a plug that looked like a tail, so he plugged in Little Jim, and now instead of him watching TV, we all sit around and watch him. The early bird. Oh, if you're a bird, be an early bird, and catch the worm for your breakfast plate. If you're a bird, be an early, early bird, but if you're a worm, sleep late. Sky seasoning. A piece of sky broke off and fell through the crack in the ceiling right into my soup, kerplop. I really must state that I usually hate lentil soup, but I ate every drop. Delicious, delicious. A bit like plaster, but so delicious. Goodness sake, I could have eaten a lentil soup lake. It's amazing the difference a bit of sky can make. The farmer and the queen. She's coming, the farmer said to the owl. Oh, what shall I do? Shall I bow when she comes? Shall I twiddle my thumbs? The owl asked who? The queen, the royal queen. She'll pass by the farm today. Shall I salute? He asked the horse. The horse said nay. Shall I give her a gift? He asked the wren. A lovely memento for her to keep. An egg or a peach or an ear of corn? The wren said cheap. But should I curtsy or should I cheer? Oh, here's her carriage now. What should I do? He asked the dog. The dog said bow. And so he did, and so she passed. Oh, tra-la-la-la-la. She smiled, she did, he told the sheep. The sheep said bah. Pancake? Who wants a pancake? Sweet and piping hot. Good little Grace looks up and says, I'll take the one on the top. Who else wants a pancake, fresh off the griddle? Terrible Teresa smiles and says, I'll take the one in the middle. Smart. My dad gave me a $1 bill, 'cause I'm his smartest son. And I swapped it for 2 shiny quarters, 'cause 2 is more than 1. And then I took the quarters and traded them to Lou. For 3 dimes, I guess he don't know that 3 is more than 2. Just then along came old blind Bates, just 'cause he can't see. He gave me 4 nickels for 3 dimes, and 4 is more than 3. And I took the 3 nickels to Hiram Coombs, and down at the seed feed store. And the fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. And then I went and showed my dad, and he got real red in the cheeks, and closed his eyes and shook his head, too proud of me to speak. Us, me and him and me, we're always together, as you can see. I wish he'd leave so I'd be free. I'm getting a little bit tired of he. He may be a bit bored with me. On movies and ladies we cannot agree. I like to dance, he loves to ski. He likes the mountain, I love the sea. I like hot chocolate, he wants his tea. I want to sleep, he has to pee. He's meaner and duller and fatter than me, but I guess there's worse things we could be. Instead of 2, we could be 3. Me and him and me. I'm making a list. I'm making a list of things I must say for politeness, and goodness and kindness and gentleness, and sweetness and rightness. Hello? Pardon me? How are you? Excuse me. Bless you. May I? Thank you. Goodbye. If you know some that I forgot, please stick them in your eye. Me and my giant. I have a friend who is a giant, and he lives where the tall weeds grow. He's high as a mountain and wide as a barn, and I only come up to his toe, you know. I only come up to his toe. When daylight grows dim, I talk with him, way down in the marshy sands, and his ear is too far away to hear, but he still understands. He stands. I know he understands. For we have a code called the Scratch Tap Code, and here is what we do. I scratch his toe, once means hello. I scratch twice, how are you? 3 means, does it look like rain? 4 times means don't cry. 5 times means I'll scratch you a joke. And 6 times means goodbye, goodbye. 6 times means goodbye. And he answered me by tapping his toe. Once means hello, friend. 2 taps means it's very nice to feel your scratch again. 3 taps means it's lonely here, with my head in the top of the sky. 4 taps means today an eagle smiled as she flew by. 5 taps means oops, I just bumped my head against the moon. 6 means sigh, and 7 means bye. And 8 means come back soon, soon, soon. 8 means come back soon. And then I scratch 1,000 times, and he taps with a bappity bin, and he laughs so hard he shakes the sky. That means I'm tickling him. Rain. I opened my eyes and looked up at the rain, and it dripped in my head and flowed into my brain. And all that I hear as I lie in my bed is the slishty slosh of the rain in my head. I sleep very softly, I walk very slow. I can't do a handstand, I might overflow. So pardon the wild crazy thing I just said. I'm just not the same since there's rain in my head. 2 boxes. 2 boxes met upon the road. Said one unto the other, if you're a box and I'm in a box, you must be my brother. Our sides are thin, we're caving in, and we must get no thinner. And so the two boxes, hand in hand, went home to have their dinner. True story. This morning I jumped on my horse and went out for a ride, and some wild outlaws chased me, and they shot me in the side. So I crawled into a wildcat's cave to find a place to hide. But some pirates found me sleeping there, and soon they had me tied to a pole and built a fire under me. I almost cried, till a mermaid came and cut me loose, and begged to be my bride. But I said I'd come back Wednesday, but I must admit I'd lied. Then I ran into a jungle swamp, but I forgot my guide. And I stepped into some quicksand, and no matter how I tried, I couldn't get out until I met a water snake named Clyde, who pulled me to some cannibals, who planned to have me fried. But an eagle came and swooped me up, and through the air we flied. But he dropped me in a boiling lake, 1,000 miles wide, and you'll never guess what I did then. I died. Boa constrictor. Oh, I'm being eaten by a boa constrictor. A boa constrictor. I'm being eaten by a boa constrictor, and I don't like it one bit. Well, what do you know? It's nibbling my toe. Oh, gee, it's up to my knee. Oh my, it's up my thigh. Oh fiddle, it's up to my middle. Oh heck, it's up to my neck. Oh dread, it's up to my... Hector the Collector. Hector the Collector collected bits of string, collected dolls with broken heads, and rusty bells that would not ring, pieces out of picture puzzles, bent-up nails and ice cream sticks, twists of wire, worn-out tires, paper bags, and broken bricks, old chipped vases, half shoelaces, Gatling guns that wouldn't shoot, leaky boats that wouldn't float, and stopped-up horns that wouldn't toot, butter knives that had no handles, copper keys that fit no locks, rings that were too small for fingers, dried-up leaves and patched-up socks, worn-out belts that had no buckles, electric trains that had no tracks, airplane models, broken bottles, three-legged chairs, and cups with cracks. Hector the Collector loved these things with all his soul, loved them more than shining diamonds, loved them more than glistening gold. Hector called to all the people, "Come and share my treasure chunk," and all the silly, sightless people came and looked and called it junk. Invention. I've done it, I've done it. Guess what I've done? Invented a light that plugs into the sun. The sun is bright enough and the bulb is strong enough, but oh, there's only one thing wrong. The cord ain't long enough. The Googies are coming. The Googies are coming, the old people say, to buy little children and take them away. 50 cents for fat ones, 20 cents for lean ones, 15 cents for dirty ones, 30 cents for clean ones, a nickel each for mean ones. The Googies are coming, and maybe tonight, to buy little children and lock them up tight. 80 cents for husky ones, a quarter for the weak ones, penny each for the noisy ones, and $1 for the meek ones. 40 cents for happy ones, 11 cents for sad ones, and kitties when they come to buy, it won't do any good to cry, but just between yourself and I, they never buy the bad ones. For sale. One sister for sale. One sister for sale. One crying and spying young sister for sale. I'm really not kidding, so who will start the bidding? Do I hear $1, a nickel, a penny? Oh, isn't there any one kid who will buy this old sister for sale? This crying and spying young sister for sale. Sleeping sardines. I'm tired of eating just beans, says I, so I opened a can of sardines. But they started to squeak, "Hey, we're trying to sleep. We were snuggled up tight, till you let in the light. You big silly sap, let us finish our nap. Now close up the lid," so that's what I did. Will somebody please pass me the beans? 1 inch tall. If you were only 1 inch tall, you'd ride a worm to school. The teardrop of a crying ant would be your swimming pool. A crumb of cake would be a feast, and last you 7 days at least. A flea would be a frightening beast, if you were 1 inch tall. If you were only 1 inch tall, you'd walk beneath the door, and it would take about a month to get down to the store. A bit of fluff would be your bed. You'd swing upon a spider's thread, and wear a thimble on your head if you were 1 inch tall. You'd surf across the kitchen sink upon a stick of gum. You couldn't hug your mama, you'd just have to hug her thumb. You'd run from people's feet in fright. To move a pin would take all night. This poem took 14 years to write, 'cause I'm just 1 inch tall. Enter this deserted house. Please walk softly, as you do. Frogs dwell here, and crickets too. Ain't no ceiling, only blue. Jays dwell here, and sunbeams too. Floors are flowers, take a few. Ferns grow here, and daisies too. Whoosh, swoosh, to-wit, to-woo. Bats dwell here, and hoot owls too. Ha ha ha, hee hee hoo hoo. Gnomes dwell here, and goblins too. And my child, I thought you knew, I dwell here, and so do you. Sick. I cannot go today. School, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash and a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. And there's one more that's 17. And don't you think my face looks a little green? My leg is cut, my eyes are blue. It might be instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze, and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched, my ankles sprain. My appendix pains every time it rains. My nose is cold, my toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff, my voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbows bent, my spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk, I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail and my heart is what? What's that? What's that you say? You said it's Saturday. Goodbye. I'm going out to play. Upstairs. There's a family of wrens who live upstairs, 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 inside my hat, all cozy in my hair, my hair, my hair. I've moved a dozen times and still they're there, they're there, they're there. I'd like to get away from them, but where, but where, but where? This hat just isn't big enough to share, to share, to share. But now I see you're bored and you don't care, don't care, don't care. But the wrens who live inside my hair, my hair, my hair. The garden. Old man Simon planted a diamond, grew himself a garden, the likes of none. Sprouts all growing, coming up glowing, fruits of jewels all shining in the sun. Colors of the rainbow, see the sun and rain grow. Sapphire and rubies on ivory vines, grapes of jade just ripening in the shade, just ready for squeezing into green jade wine. Pure gold corn there, blowing in the warm air. Old crow nibbling on the amethyst seeds in between the diamond. Old man Simon crawls about pulling out platinum weeds. Pink pearl berries, all you can carry. Put 'em in a bushel and haul 'em into town. Up in the tree there's opal nuts and gold pears. Hurry quick, grab a stick, and hurry and shake some down. Take a sliver tater, emerald tomato, fresh pump coral melons hanging in reach. Old man Simon digging in his diamonds stops and rests and dreams about one real peach. Jumping rope. This started out as a jumping rope. You probably think I'm a dope, but this started out as a jumping rope, and now I fear there is no hope. But this started out as a jumping rope. Who can kick a football from here out to Afghanistan? I can. Who fought tigers in the street, while all the policemen ran and hid? I did. Who will fly and have X-ray eyes, and be known as the man no bullet can kill? I will. Who can sit and tell lies all night? I might. Ridiculous Rose. Her mama said, "Don't eat with your fingers." Okay, said Ridiculous Rose, so she ate with her toes. Where the sidewalk ends. There is a place where the sidewalk ends, and before the street begins. And there the grass grows soft and white, and there the sun burns crimson bright, and there the moon bird rests from his flight, too cool in the peppermint wind. Let us leave this place where the smoke blows black, and the dark street winds and bends. Past the pits where the asphalt flowers grow, we shall walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and walk where the chalk-white arrows grow, to the place where the sidewalk ends. Yes, we'll walk with a walk that is measured and slow, and we'll go where the chalk-white arrows go, for the children they mark and the children they know, the place where the sidewalk ends. Snowman. 'Twas the first day of springtime, and the snowman stood alone, as the winter snows were melting, and the pine trees seemed to grow. Oh, you poor, sad, smiling snowman, you'll be melting by and by. Said the snowman, what a pity, for I'd like to see July. Yes, I'd like to see July, and please don't ask me why. But I'd like, yes, I'd like to. Oh, I'd like to see July. Chirped a robin, just arriving. Seasons come and go, and the greatest ice must crumble when its flowers time its grow. And as one thing is beginning, so another thing must die, and there's never been a snowman who has ever seen July. No, they never see July, no matter how they try. No, they never, ever, never, ever, never see July. But the snowman sniffled his carrot nose and said, "At least I'll try." And he bravely smiled his frosty smile and blinked his coal-black eye. And there he stood and faced the sun, a-blazing from the sky. And I really cannot tell you if he ever saw July. Did he ever see July? You can guess as well as I, if he ever saw July. The crocodile's toothache. The crocodile went to the dentist and sat down in the chair, and the dentist said, "Now tell me, sir, why does it hurt? And where?" And the crocodile said, "I'll tell you the truth. I have a terrible ache in my tooth." And so he opened his jaws so wide, the dentist he climbed right up inside. And the dentist laughed, "Oh, isn't this fun?" And he pulled the teeth out, one by one. And the crocodile cried, "You're hurting me so. Please put down your pliers and let me go." But the dentist just laughed with ho, ho, ho. And he said, "I still have 12 to go." Oops, that's the wrong one, I confess. But what's one crocodile tooth, more or less? But then suddenly the jaws went snap, and the dentist was gone right off the map. Now, where he went one could only guess, to north or south or east or west. He left no forwarding address, but what's one dentist, more or less? Thumbs. Oh, the thumbsucker's thumb may look wrinkled and wet, and withered and white as snow, but the taste of a thumb is the sweetest taste yet, as only we thumbsuckers know. Wild boar. If you tell me the wild boar has 20 teeth, I'll say, why sure. Or say that he has 33, that's numbers quite all right with me. Or scream that he has 99, I'll never say that you are lying. For the number of teeth in a wild boar's mouth is a subject I'm glad I know nothing about. Lester. Lester was given a magic wish by the goblin who lives in the banyan tree, and with his wish he wished for 2 more wishes, so now he'd have just 1 wish. He cleverly had 3. And with each one of these he simply wished for 3 more wishes, which gave him 3 old wishes plus 9 new. And with each of these 12 he slyly wished for 3 more wishes, which added up to 46, or is it 52? Well, anyway, he used each wish to wish for wishes till he had 5,7,018,034, and then he spread them on the ground and clapped his hands and danced around, and skipped and sang, and then sat down and wished for more, and more and more. They multiplied, while other people smiled and cried, and loved and reached and touched and felt. Lester set a mountain's wealth, stacked mountain high like stacks of gold, sat and counted and grew old. Then one day, Thursday night, they found him dead, with his wishes piled all around him. And they counted the lot and found that not a single one was missing, all shiny and new. Here, take a few, and think of Lester as you do. In a world of apples and kisses and shoes, he wasted his wishes on wishing. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour the pots and scrape the pans, candy the yams and spice the hams. And though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so it piled up to the ceilings: coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese. It filled the can, it covered the floor, it cracked the window and blocked the door, with bacon rinds and chicken bones, drippy ends and ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, orange peel, gloppy lumps of cold oatmeal, pizza crust and withered greens, soggy beans and tangerines, crusts of black burned buttered toast, gristly bits of beefy roast. The garbage rolled on down the hole. It raised the roof, it broke the wall. Greasy napkins, cookie crumbles, globs of gooey bumble bum, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery blubbery macaroni, peanut butter caked and dry, curdled milk and crusts of pie, moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard, cold french fries of rancid meat, yellow lumps of cream of wheat. At last the garbage reached so high that finally it touched the sky. And all the neighbors moved away, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally Sarah Cynthia said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." But then, of course, it was too late. The garbage had reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate, and there in the garbage she did hate. Poor Sarah met with an awful fate that I cannot right now relate, because an hour is much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout, and always take the garbage out. Drats. Can anyone lend me 2 80-pound rats? I want to get rid of my house cats. Hat. Teddy said it was a hat, so I put it on. Now Dad is saying, where the heck the toilet plunger's gone. My rules. If you want to marry me, here's what you'll have to do. You must learn how to make the perfect chicken dumpling stew, and you must sew my holy socks, then soothe my troubled mind, and develop the knack for scratching my back, and keep my shoes spotlessly shine. And while I rest, you must rake up the leaves, and when it's hailing and snowing, you must shovel the walk, and be still when I talk. And hey, where are you going? Oh, have you heard? Have you heard that it's time for vaccinations? I think someone put salt into your tea. They're giving us 11-month vacations, and Florida has sunk into the sea. Oh, have you heard the president has measles? The principal has just burned down the school. Your hair is full of ants and purple weasels. April Fools. Warning. Inside everyone's nose there lives a sharp-toothed snail. So if you stick your finger in it, he might bite off your nail. Stick it further up inside and he might bite your ring off. Stick it all the way in, he might bite the whole damn thing off. The unicorn. A long time ago, when the earth was green, and there were more kinds of animals than you've ever seen, and they run around free while the world was being born, and the loveliest of all was the unicorn. There was green alligators and long-necked geese. There was humpy bumpy camels and chimpanzees. There was cats and rats and elephants. But sure as you're born, the loveliest of all was the unicorn. But the Lord seen some sinning, and it caused him pain. And he says, stand back, I'm gonna make it rain. He says, hey brother Noah, I'll tell you what you do. Go and build me a floating zoo. And you take 2 gators and a couple of geese, 2 humpy bumpy camels and 2 chimpanzees. Take 2 cats and rats and elephants. But sure as you're born, Noah, don't forget my unicorn. Now Noah was there and he answered the calling, and he finished with the ark just before the rain started a-falling. He marched in the animals 2 by 2, and he called out as they went through, hey Lord, I got your 2 alligators, and your couple of geese, your humpy bumpy camels, and your 2 chimpanzees. Got your cats and rats and elephants. But Lord, I am so forlorn, 'cause I just don't see no unicorn. Old Noah looked out through the driving rain, but the unicorns were hiding, playing silly games. They were kicking and splashing in misty morn. Oh, them silly unicorns. Then the goats started going, and the snakes started snaking, and the elephants started elephanting, and the lions started roaring, and everyone's bored but the unicorn. I mean the green alligators and the long-necked geese, the humpy bumpy camels and the chimpanzees. But Noah cried, close the door, 'cause the rain is pouring, and we just can't wait for them unicorn. Then the ark started moving, and it drifted with the tide, and the unicorns looked up from the rock and cried, and the water come up and floated them away, and that's why you never seen a unicorn to this day. You'll see a lot of alligators and a whole mess of geese. You'll see humpy bumpy camels and lots of chimpanzees. You'll see cats, rats, and elephants. But sure as you're born, you'll never go see no unicorn. Treehouse. A treehouse, a free house, a secret you and me house, a high up in the leafy branches, cozy as can be house, a street house, a neat house, be sure and wipe your feet house. It's not my kind of house at all. Let's go live in a treehouse. The flying festoon. Oh, I'm going to ride the flying festoon. I'll jump on his back, I'll whistle a tune. and we'll fly to the outermost tip of the moon, the flying festoon and I. I'm taking a sandwich and balling a prune, and we're leaving the evening precisely at noon, for I'm going to fly with the flying festoon, just as soon as he learns how to fly. No difference. Small as a peanut, big as a giant, we're all the same size when we turn off the light. Rich as a sultan, poor as a mite, we're all worth the same when we turn off the light. Red, black, or orange, yellow or white, we all look the same when we turn off the light. So maybe the way to make everything right is for God to reach out and turn off the light. Invisible Boy. And here we see the invisible boy in his lovely invisible house, feeding a piece of invisible cheese to a little invisible mouse. Oh, what a beautiful picture to see. Will you draw the invisible picture for me? Tight hat. I tried to tip my hat to Miss McGaffey. I never should have put it on so tight, because it wouldn't cut off my head. My neck got stretched instead. So that's what you get, trying to be polite. Peanut butter sandwich. I'll sing you a poem of a silly young king who played with the world at the end of the string, but he only loved one thing, and that was just a peanut butter sandwich. His scepter and his royal gowns, his regal throne and golden crowns, were brown and sticky from the mounds and drippings from each peanut butter sandwich. His subjects were all fools, for he passed a royal rule, for all that they could learn in school was how to make a peanut butter sandwich. He would not eat his sovereign steak. He scorned his soup and kingly cake, and he told his courtly cook to bake an extra sticky peanut butter sandwich. And then one day he took a bite and started chewing with delight, but found his mouth was stuck quite tight for that last bite of peanut butter sandwich. His brother pulled, his sister pried, the wizard pushed, his mother cried. The boys... This is Lunar D8 signing out. See you in the next video. Later.